2024 annual report revealed that it investigated an additional 2 parliamentarians over its most recent reporting period. The Commission's June 2023 report stirred infamy with the bombshell revelation that 6 parliamentarians and 32 public officials were being investigated for an increase in wealth they couldn't at the time account for. The tally of public officials under the microscope has since been reduced to 4. The opposition dogged the government, maintaining that none in its ranks was among the accused.
The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit 6 MPs remains a festering sore, only made worse by the Prime Minister's gag order on his own cabinet ministers from speaking publicly on matters to do with the Integrity Commission. If I were in your position, I would take with myself and hand over to someone else who is not compromised.
The Holness administration similarly denied those charges. Government ministers, including the vocal Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, called for the Integrity Commission to submit its findings on the mystery legislators fingered in its earlier report.
People are asking which 6 parliamentarians or which 26 or 28 public officials are being investigated. I urge the IC to report to Parliament as soon as possible if these persons have cleared up their matter, and if they have not cleared up, investigate them and report to Parliament as quickly as possible.
The IC has again refrained from naming the subjects under investigation. It's also offered no comment on the status of its illicit enrichment inquiry. Meanwhile, the country's government leader, Andrew Holness, has also endured persistent scrutiny. The culprit, his statutory declarations.
I too am concerned that they have not yet certified them. They have written to me asking various questions. I have provided answers, and they have written to me again, and I'm in the process of providing those answers. You will, however, appreciate that it does take some time.
Mr. Holness's statutory declarations for 2021 have yet to be certified, delaying the certification process for subsequent years. However, in its latest report, IC Chair retired Justice Seymour Panton said the Commission will soon complete that process. Raman Gordon for CVM News.
And following the release of the Integrity Commission's report, some individuals have expressed disdain on the Commission's ability to fulfill its mandate to the country. However, for some analysts, this update has not changed their stance.
I think that, it shows that there's an ongoing process, and as we've heard from Justice Panton, the process is not yet completed, so it's good to know that there still is an ongoing process and that there is some finality that we'll soon be able to see. But at this point in time, I think we're no closer to knowing the outcome of these investigations.
The view of many Jamaicans is that the parliamentarians or politicians in general, whether parliamentarians, councillors, senators, whatever it is, Jamaicans view politicians as corrupt. And we've seen studies over the years where individuals who would have been surveyed, where they'd have said that doesn't really influence their decision-making process in choosing their government anymore, because I guess there's some fatigue across the nation as it relates to that, because we've seen scandals unfold on the administration after administration after administration. Whether or not there are actual options for the actions, that's the question that lies in the mind of Jamaicans. So if we don't see that, I don't think, even if the names are released, that we're going to really sit and expect any great new, unfolding.
And we invite you to watch the full interview right here on Lead Story tonight at 6:30. The Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, JCPD, has teamed up with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to assist those impacted by Hurricane Beryl. Speaking on Sunrise Thursday, the Council's Corporate Communications Manager, Adrienne Pinnock, reminds a disaster is not an excuse to neglect individuals with disabilities.
The Jamaica Council of Persons with Disabilities, we are really designed to directly address the needs of persons with disabilities. So while the partnership with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is relieving the food need, there are other needs that are coming to our attention, and we are open to partnership from private sector and others to help us to get those assistive devices that persons will now need if they were displaced or it was damaged, because you can imagine, especially where the impact was great, the terrains may have damaged a chair and somebody is not in a position to replace it. The Council of Persons with Disabilities, we have a few in stock that we would have given out, but there are other, we would need others. So we are open to partnership for others who will be able to donate into us so that we can provide the relief to those persons. Awareness is the key, because some things we take for granted, as you would have described, and you use persons who are visually impaired as your example, but if I'm a wheelchair user and I navigate the space using my wheelchair, there is also a barrier. So it's just being always mindful of our accessibility requirements so that we are not creating unnecessary barriers, even when we are in a disaster, either a relief situation or post or pre-disaster preparedness. So it's just being mindful.
Meanwhile, in addition to announcing an estimated restoration figure to address the damage from Hurricane Beryl, even with updates from the utility companies, the mayor of Kingston is urging them to restore light and water to the affected corporate area communities as soon as possible. Here's more from Adrian Williams.
An estimated $530 million in losses have been incurred in the corporate area following the latest Category 4 hurricane. Kingston's Mayor Andrew Swaby provided an update at this month's corporation meeting.
Preliminary estimated recovery costs during the passage of Hurricane Beryl on our public infrastructure is about 530 million Jamaican dollars. These include damages to roadways, drainage network, landslides, block drains, public buildings, and other infrastructure that falls under the remit of the KCMC.
While the country continues to repair damage inflicted upon the physical infrastructure and restore productivity, the mayor believes the KCMC was spared Beryl's wrath.
Assessments so far suggest that the Kingston and St. Andrew fared reasonably well in terms of damage of infrastructure. For the most part, fallen trees, landslides caused by blockages to roadways. So far, at least one lane access has been restored to most communities affected by a blockage of roads.
In acknowledging the utility providers' efforts, Swaby urges them to remedy the issues with alacrity.
While I appreciate the work being done by the Jamaica Public Service and the National Water Commission, I'm also mindful that there are still a number of communities that are without light and water. I implore these agencies to have these services restored as quick as possible.
Adrian Williams for CVM News.
Midday News will continue right after this.
Listen, I'm about to drive. Let me call you back.
Road safety begins with you.
A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
We believe in golden years that shine bright, and nutrition plays a vital role in keeping our seniors healthy and happy. Studies have shown that in Jamaica, nearly 35% of men 65 years and older and 10% of women the same age are underweight. As we journey through life, nutrition remains essential. But as we age, it becomes even more crucial. Many older adults face nutritional challenges, and inadequate nutrition with the management of non-communicable diseases contributes to or worsens their well-being.
If older persons are losing weight rapidly or have loss of appetite or difficulty swallowing, please take them to a doctor or the nearest health center. Let's help our seniors stay happy and healthy with good nutrition.
This is a message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back. It's time now for our discussion segment. We'll be having Michael Phillips, Public Administration and Appropriations Committee Chairman. Now, MP Phillips and Fitzjackson have accused the House Speaker of acting outside of her remit in cancelling committee meetings of Parliament that have the mandate to hold public bodies accountable. CVM News has reached out to the Speaker of the House, who indicated she is unable to join us. Mr. Phillips, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Explain for us what exactly is the issue with the Speaker's decision to cancel committee meetings?
Well, so just to give you a little background, the Parliament usually sends out the schedule of meetings and sittings of the House on a Friday. Usually on a Friday afternoon, we got communications from the Parliament that various committees would be meeting. At least 3 committees of the House would be meeting, and there would have been some joint select committees also that would be meeting this week, including the sitting of the House on Tuesday. One committee that would have been meeting would have been the CDF committee, which is chaired by the Speaker of the House. And the communication came to us later that afternoon that on Monday, I should say, that the only committee that will be meeting would be the CDF committee, which is chaired by the Speaker, and all other committees. Instructions given by the Speaker herself that all other committees should be cancelled for a time to be specified. By the standing orders, it doesn't give the Speaker of the House the permission or any oversight over the committees. As chairman of the committee, we usually communicate with the leader of government business. There was no consultation with any of the chairmen of the committees. I know for a fact that I have no communication with me and Julian Robinson, who chairs the PAC, had no communication. The only communication was by email. So we found it a bit strange that no communication would have been had with us as chairman of the committees to find out, if we do have a quorum, is it important to have the meeting? Just any communication. So the Speaker was written to, or the leader of government business was written to by the leader of opposition business, questioning the authority of the Speaker to cancel these meetings. Then we got communication on Monday afternoon that if it is that we feel fit that we would like to still have the committee meeting, we were to proceed. Hence, as chairman of the PAAC, decided that we would proceed with the planned meeting which we had yesterday.
With that said, Mr. Phillips, do you believe, therefore, the Speaker was acting in accordance with the standing orders?
No, the Speaker was not acting in accordance with the standing orders. And I mean, when I've spoken to other members who have been in the Parliament even longer than I have been, and I've been there, this is my 3rd term, I've never seen anything like this, and others have expressed that they have not seen anything like this, where the Speaker then gets involved in the operations of the committees.
Your colleague, South and Catherine Member of Parliament Fitz Jackson, has been quoted as saying the Speaker of the House needs to be reined in. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, you know, it's just from observing, not only in this matter, but other matters that has come to the House. The issue of tabling of reports, and other matters to do with just, you know, how it is that they treat with the committees, the chairmanship of the committees, which, you know, would normally be opposition members, changing the face of these committees. You know, they're just matters that where their interpretation of the standing orders is not in line with normal practice or even the standing orders themselves. So, you know, this is just another such action from the Speaker and from the administration, who has a supermajority in the House, that, you know, they do as they see fit and not in the best interest of the people who put us there. Hence, you know, the comments by myself and Member Jackson.
What are some of the priority issues you think the committee would see as urgent in attending to at this time?
Well, so yesterday's meeting would have been a short meeting. We were to meet to set the schedule for this financial year. You know, for the committee itself. We wouldn't have been able to set a meeting with a ministry department or agency, which we refer to the MDAs, unless we have set this schedule. It takes all the members of the committee to agree on the schedule. So what would have happened is that we would be pushing the time frame down the road, you know, setting that schedule. The meeting wasn't longer than about 45 minutes. You know, I know there are urgent matters in constituencies. I too have issues in my constituency, but, you know, we are there.